My name is Lindy Graham, and I am the CEO of WellSpace Maine, which is a behavioral health practice in Portland, and we have offices in Yarmouth too. I was a therapist in my own practice for 15 years or so, and then starting about 5 years ago, I started hiring clinicians to sort of meet the need. It was before the pandemic, but it already felt as though there was such a significant need for therapy for people in Maine. And so over the last several years, we've just grown it. Eventually we named it WellSpace Maine, and it is a practice that has kind of 3 arms to it. One is sort of just people reach out to us from the community looking for therapy services, and we provide outpatient therapy. And then we also have an arm of our practice called WellSpace at Work, which is really fun. That was a baby born from the pandemic, where we provide access to healthcare for employees of Maine companies. So a Maine company will contract with us to get expedited care for their employees, and it's been wonderful. We also do trainings for employees to sort of just improve well-being. And then the third part of our practice is that we have a training program. So when a person graduates from their master's level program, they take their licensing exam, and they are a licensed therapist. And then for 2 years, they work under the supervision and support of an organization. And so we train therapists during that time. I did a training program myself, and it was so important to just really get a deeper experience of the work. And so we offer lots and lots of support for newer therapists. So we have this arm of our practice called WellSpace at Work, and it was really born from a dog walk, actually. A therapist in our practice was walking with the head of HR at a company, and she said that she was seeing so many people coming into her office struggling to find access to therapy. And we have known for a while that the system for finding a therapist is not the greatest. It's fragmented, you have to call a lot of people might not have openings, and that's a hard process when somebody's really struggling. So we recognized that Maine companies there was a need to be able to support these companies to get expedited care for their employees. And so that's how WellSpace at Work was born, where we began contracting directly with employees to address this very specific need. And that need was quite substantial early on in the pandemic, but it has really continued, because the reality is that the world right now is struggling in many ways, and in many ways we're having a normative response to the suffering of the world, and to be able to seek care quickly and easily and make sure that that's confidential, high quality care that people can sort of jump right into starting is so important. And that's been such a really rewarding part of the larger practice of WellSpace, to really work with these companies to offer kind of that particular support. So when I think about Portland, I would say I think the word would be progressive, in the sense of just people really forward thinking, trying to solve some of the really challenging social issues that exist, and that it is a welcoming and diverse city, and that I feel so important. And then when I think about Maine broadly, I just think about just nature and how much natural beauty that there is here, and how accessible all of that is. Okay, so the Mainer that inspires me most is Andrea Gibson. They are a poet. They're the poet laureate of Colorado right now. And I am sort of late in the game to becoming an Andrea Gibson fan, but I heard an interview with them, and they were describing where they grew up. They didn't say anything about the actual location, and I immediately was like, that person is definitely from Maine. And I looked, and absolutely they were, and they just write the most amazing poetry, and it's so much focused on their own mental health journey. They have struggled with chronic illness, and the beauty that they describe in the world and their marriage, like everything about what they speak of is so beautiful and true and important work. What I would like to see for Maine in 5 years are really specific solutions to the climate crisis, like being actually attended to and engaged with, so that we've actually implemented some actual change. And that also, I think, dovetails with kind of addressing the large and growing population of unhoused people in our state. And also, I just would love more progressive social support. When I think about the New Deal, like, have we actually done anything since then that really broadly helped people? I really would love, whether it's the Green New Deal or some other massive legislation, whether that's nationally or something that gets done in Maine, that actually looks to kind of connect us back to our humanity and actually helping people to be well in the world. That feels incredibly important. When I think about favorite restaurants, breweries, I have a definite bias here, which is that I love so much all of the companies that we work with through WellSpace at Work, and there's so many of them that are in the restaurant and food industry. So Allagash was our very first client that we worked with to help their employees, and they're just such an amazing company. We love working with them. We now have a bunch of other breweries that we work with too, so obviously I love them too. But we have Rising Tide and Bissell Brothers, and then some of the restaurants. It's pretty sweet to know that we have these connections with restaurants. We have like the street dining restaurants that we work with, and Central Provisions and Tipo and Evo and 12. I mean, it's like such awesome places, and the fact that they are prioritizing their staff's mental health, it just makes me love them all the more. So what makes women's leadership unique? Well, I, first of all, would like to think, and I think that this is happening, that we're sort of moving beyond kind of like a gender binary in terms of thinking about leadership and just generally thinking about gender broadly. But I would say that what is unique about women leaders is that typically we have, well, for sure, the experience of being oppressed in some way, and that enhances our humanity and our compassion for others and our interest in really understanding and having empathy for others. And because of that, compared with the fact that because in our leadership roles have afforded us a lot of access, we are in a really unique position to actually sort of leverage some of that privilege that we also have because of our leadership and kind of come from a place of compassionately addressing issues. And I do think that there's really been a big shift in understanding that there are plenty of seats at the table and that women don't need to be in competition with each other. I feel as though broadly all the time it feels clear to me that women are interested in lifting each other up, and I think that awareness and trust in what we can do together is pretty much makes for unlimited possibilities.